From Gravy, this is Casey Graham Leadership.
Well, hello, my name is Casey Graham, and I'm supposed to do a lovely intro. I have two people looking at me right now, and they've said, you need to do an intro. When I was writing a book, they said, you need to do an intro. And my problem with intros is that nobody really wants an intro, and nobody ever really thinks, my God, I can't wait to read the intro. But people like me that write stuff or produce stuff are told that we need to do intros. And so I don't want to do an intro. And so I'm not going to do it the way that you would normally do one, because you don't care about me. What you ultimately care about is you. And what you ultimately care about is that what you can get out of investing time, your precious time of listening to this podcast. I'd like to introduce myself for the very first time. Casey Thomas Graham is my name. I say my middle name because as we get into the story and my story about why I'm even doing this and why I'm doing a podcast and why I'm doing this show that you can watch and why I'm doing these things is that my first encounter with business actually started with a life-altering experience of my granddad taking his life as a small business owner. And so understanding and living through that kind of pain and trauma was my entryway into what business is and what it isn't and what it could be and what it shouldn't be and all of those different kind of things. And so people ask, why did you write this book? And why are we going to talk about this? And why should I listen to you? And I would say the only reason you should listen to me is that I promise that I'm not going to tell you hacks and tricks about how you should just do things in your leadership, in your life, in your business. I'm going to share with you the ups and the downs. I'm going to share with you the real and the raw. I'm going to share with you all of the different parts of life, real time, all the time. And so we call this No B.S. in the book. And the reason that we did that was I was just tired of reading stuff that I felt like it was all like mechanical business stuff. But behind all of these mechanical business practices and leadership practices and all these things, which are great, but behind them all, I get the phone calls when people sell their company and they call me and they're miserable and they don't have purpose for their lives. I get the phone calls when people are in the middle of promoting that they've raised a bunch of money for their company, but their family's falling apart. I get the phone calls of all of these different type of life situations to where at the end of the day, we're just people. And we're just people and we're doing this thing and we're trying and we try to put on this front. We try to put on this act and we try to put on all of these different things that happen. And that's just normal. I try to do it. I don't want to tell you all the bad things. I don't want to share the struggles. I don't want to talk about all the things that go wrong in my life and my finances and my family and my leadership. I don't want to tell you about the list of people that hate me because I let them go and did, had to fire people. And there's a whole list of people that if they listen to this would say, don't listen to that guy. He's an asshole. There's all of that. That's what this is. And so my intro is simple, is that when I started to write this book, I started it with some words, and I'm going to read these words. It says, to Casey. Now, I'm not talking about myself in third person. My wife's name is Casey. I always have to tell people that because they're always like, this guy's such a douchebag. He's talking about himself in third person when I share a story about Casey. But my wife's name is Casey, K-A-C-I-E. I tell her I spell it right. But we've been married now for, as I'm recording this, 17 going on 18 years. And I have to say that she is one of the most lovely humans, and people in this room that know her would even know that this isn't just like podcast talk or whatever. Like she's a wonderful human being. She's consistent and she's steady and she's full of grace and love, and she's a wonderful mom. She's a wonderful wife. But these are the words I wrote to her in my intro. I said, to Casey, my wife, your grace saved my life. And the reason I say that is about 5 years ago, I didn't think we were going to make it. And frankly, we shouldn't have made it in our relationship. And I'd gotten so devoid and so separated from how I live my life in public to how I live my life in private to me wondering if I should even take my own life, literally sitting in Starbucks. I remember sharing with my friend Richard about that. And my wife worked overtime and overtime again to offer me what most people wouldn't, which is grace. And when I didn't even love myself, she loved me. And so when I write this about grace, is that I truly believe that grace and the grace of the people around us that stick with us when other people won't. And the people that walk in when everybody walks out, they are the people that when you get to the end of your life, you're going to look back and you're going to see that they were your life. They are everything. And so to Casey, your grace saved my life. To Darby, my daughter, which now I'm going to start crying. So there's people in the room, and so I'm not supposed to act like there's people in the room, but I can't act like there's not. And to Darby, my daughter, your heart stole mine. And the reason I wrote that was there's something about a little girl. There's just something about a daughter that I don't know how to explain it. And if you have it, you get it. If you don't, like, I don't know how to try to make you understand what it is. But my daughter, I'm just so proud of her, and her heart stole mine, meaning that, I just remember the first time I held her and saw her, and then she got those cherry red lips, and she was such a strong-willed baby. We wanted to kill her for the first probably 3 years. But she's turned into a wonderful young lady. And at the time of recording this, she's 14 years old. And her heart stole mine. And I now understand what it means to be a father because of her, because I experienced it for the first time. And how easy it is to love your kids. It's the easiest thing to love. It's just natural. And so, Darby, I don't know if you'll ever listen to this. I know you don't want to listen to your dad on a podcast. But if you do, I'm proud of you. And I wrote this book to help people, but primarily I wrote it for you and I wrote it for your brother, that one day maybe you could come back through when you get beat up in life a little bit. You're going to have tough times. Everything's not going to work out the way you think it is. And I just want you to know that I love you. To my son, Gage, I wrote, to Gage, my son, your spirit mentors me. And people read that and they don't know what that means. But what it means is when we had Gage, and as he started growing up and developing, his spirit is so different than mine. And he's so calm and content. On the Enneagram, I bet he'll score a 9, right? He's got just that 9 spirit, and he's so loving and caring and generous. And he'll be stubborn, but you don't ever even know he's stubborn because he's so quiet about it. So he has that spirit, but he's patient and he loves people well. He doesn't need to be the star of the show. He's not going to do the podcast. He's going to be the guy that loves you no matter what. And he's an adventure seeker and those kind of things. And so I learned so much from my son, Gage, and his spirit mentors me through that, of understanding that I am this driven, red, Enneagram 7, get after it, crazy, all that kind of stuff. And he is 100% opposite. And sometimes we think in the opposites that creates opposition. But I truly believe what it creates is the opportunity. And that opportunity is to let their spirit mentor ours. And so that's why I wrote that to Gage, is that his spirit mentors me. And that's my family. So you may be sitting going, Casey, I have no idea what that means for me. Well, here's what it means. As we go on this journey together, I want to help you begin with the end in mind. And I read this statistic that 2 things. Number 1, only 8 people will fit around a hospital bed. That's about how many people can fit around a hospital bed. And number 2 is that, and this is a book I read, is very unique about the idea that we only carry about 6 people throughout our entire life. Only 6 in general. And there's different people that obviously, and when I say carry, I mean those close people that go through all the stages and all the seasons and all of it. And so I want us to get out of this idea of big and cool and leadership and all of this stuff and bring it down to the 6 or to the 8 and understand that inside of that is where all of our life and leadership needs to stem from. And inside of that, to ask the question, why am I doing all this anyway? And to ask the question as we get into the book and look at the concepts that we're going to talk about called owner's intent. of going, why do I do this part of my career? And what does this effect does it have on the people around me? And to ask the question like, why do I want to be successful? Why do I want to grow? Why do I want to have more money? Why do I want to do things? And I'm not for or against any of those things, but I'm just going to ask the question, and we're going to do hard work together to get down to why we do what we do and to move back to the driving forces of our life to help us understand that true success is not what we accomplish, it's who we become. And who we become will impact and influence the people closest to us more than anything else. So welcome to the podcast. I don't know if the intro was too long or too short, but what we would appreciate you to do is jump into the next episode or wait for the next episode. And when it comes out, I want you to be excited about taking this journey with us. Thank you for being on the Casey Graham Leadership Podcast, and I'm excited to be your host on the journey.
Thanks for listening to Casey Graham Leadership. To learn more about Gravy and how we can be your done-for-you revenue recovery service, visit gravysolutions.io. And don't forget your copy of the No B.S. Small Business Book, available wherever books are sold. See you next time.